Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.
You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Yes, everyone, you know you're going to have a good time here on The Kim Jacobs Show. I am so excited because we are going to have a better time now that we have Jessica T. Moore, MSW, in the house. How are you, Jessica?
I am well. How are you?
Oh, I am well also, especially since you're here today. Listen, where are you located?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay. And I am in Charlotte, North Carolina. So we're not too far apart, about 4 hours or so, right?
Yeah,
I actually love Atlanta. I love the Atlanta area. It's
yeah,
very
I love it too.
progressive and exciting. And I think, everybody's pretty much nice every time I've encountered people in Atlanta, but
Yeah,
everybody's about their business. It's like, we rocking and
yeah.
rolling.
That's
That's what's going
about
on.
right.
Yeah. I told you I had somebody here fixing something for me. So of course, right when we start, that's the case, is somebody knocking to bring it to my attention. Let me see what is it.
They fix it.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay. What they just show me as a price to fix it, I need to definitely wait until I take a commercial break and see what we're going to do here. Right. Okay. Listen, today, everybody, I want you to grab your virtual seats. Give me a second. I want you to grab your virtual seats, and we're going to be talking about embracing imperfections, owning your own story, because it's a big difference in being in a story and living in a story and living through some circumstances and situations than actually owning that thing, right?
Mhm.
So this episode today is going to be nothing but delightful for you as you hear from Jessica T. Moore. I know that some of you are here in the virtual studio. Yay, Jessica! Naira says, she said, hey, Jessica. Who else is on? Let's see. Comments. It's nothing worse than actually hosting a show and trying to get work done on your house at the same time. It's virtually impossible. And he's a minor, so he can't make the decision. And the cost is too expensive for him to even dare think about. So I have to step in for this. Who else is on? Anybody else that we want to make some shout outs and comments to? Let's see. Okay, right now, Naira, I see you, and everybody's rushing to get their virtual seats. Listen, Jessica, tell people what they can expect to hear today as they're grabbing their virtual seats.
So people can expect to hear pretty much what you said, how to embrace their imperfections and how to own your story, which I feel like once you do those two things, you are on a journey to become the best version of yourself. One thing that I love to say is stand on your story and not in it.
That's so good. Okay, so we're going to learn some strategies today to be able to, hey, Mackenzie, how are you? Good morning. Hey, y'all. Hey, we see you, Mackenzie. And thank you for everything that you do backstage to listen. We're going to learn these tips and these strategies. So I hope that you have your handy notebook type of thing. I don't want to say a specific slogan, but you want to have a notebook so that you can take some good quality notes. I think, as Dr. Lotus Rache says, those that are note takers are money makers. So make sure, I love that. Now, that's a quote from Dr. Lotus Rache. So make sure you all take lots of notes. We'll type some comments and things here for you too. But let's get ready to take a commercial break. Before I do, Jessica, because I am going to have to also deal with this so that he'll know whether to stay and fix it or leave, I am going to introduce you with your formal bio, and then I'm going to put you full screen, and you teach people all the time. So I know you gifted at this, right? So you'll be able to take people. I want you to just take people back a little bit about your backstory so that I can be a part of the conversation when we talk about the actual stepping into your story. Okay.
Okay.
So Jessica T. Moore is married to her high school classmate, Aaron Moore. And we're going to learn more about that as she tells you her backstory. And together, how many children they have. I'm going to let her talk about that. She's the host of the Jessica Moore Show and creator of the Own Your Own Story brand. Own Your Story brand. She's the visionary author of Embracing Imperfections. And she has shared the stage with multiple best-selling people, but number one best-selling motivational speaker, Dr. Les Brown, and recently even co-authored a book with him. So Jessica is a training facilitator, and many of us know about Russell Brunson's. She trained some of his mentees. So it's a lot of things that this woman offers to the world as she owns her own story. Welcome, Jessica T. Moore, to the Kim Jacobs Show.
Thank you.
All right, so everybody, you're going to hear from Jessica exclusively for a few moments while I handle one thing that I have being fixed. And this is balance, okay? I have someone here fixing something at my home. And guess what? This is the time that they could come, and now they need me to ante up, pay up, or let me go, lady. So I'm going to put Jessica full screen, and then I will be back shortly. Jessica, we're going to go to commercial break, Mackenzie, and then when we come back, you're going to hear from Jessica T. Moore.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
Hello, everyone. So as Ms. Kim Jacobs mentioned, I am Jessica T. Moore. I am the host of the Jessica Moore Show. I'm the creator of the Own Your Story brand, and I am also the visionary author of Embracing Imperfections. So today I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you all. And this is one of the moments where you have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So I just want to kind of go a little bit into who I am, what I do in the world, and why you should care. So pretty much I grew up with my mother, and we were very close. We had she was my best friend. And when I turned 13, my life turned upside down when my mom unexpectedly passed away. And so in that moment, I went on a journey of instability, and I ended up moving several times. I lived in 4 different states, and I went to 4 different high schools. And by the time I was 18, I actually found out that I was pregnant. And so it was that moment that I chose not to be a volunteer victim in my life. So I was actually a freshman in college, and I chose to continue actually going to school. I ended up graduating with my bachelor's degree at 22 years old. I got married a week later, and then my husband and I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, where we started our legacy business. So online, I am a virtual superstar helping people to get their compilation books done. And then offline, I'm actually a social worker. So I just, life is amazing. And so, as I mentioned earlier, the main thing is talking about standing on your story and not in it, and embracing imperfections. As you can see, that's my book back there called Embracing Imperfections. And what it is where women break their silence, own their stories, and show you how to heal your heart. And the reason why that's important to me is because in my journey, with me losing my mom, with me ended up pregnant at 18 years old and continuing to go to school, a lot of times I question, like, why am I doing this? Did any of this make sense? And I know you probably had times where you sat back and said, you know what, I can't do that because of my imperfections. I can't be the best version of myself because of the things that I went through. But my goal is to tell you and show you, like, no, you can still become the best version of yourself. No matter what your past looks like, you can always write a new chapter in your life. So as far as with my book, it's actually a compilation book, and it's where women, each book has about 25 to 30 women, in over 15 different countries who've come together to write their stories. And so my goal is to just help people and give them a platform to be able to own their voice and find their voice and own their stories. So we have, like I mentioned, at this point, I've coached hundreds of people on how to tell their stories. I've published some of those stories in my book. I've had several more of the people who wrote in my book go on to actually write their own compilation books. Shout out to Sister Naira, who is one of my superstar clients from Repair of the Black Family. Also, Miss Gilda, who her anthology book is actually called Queen of Hearts. And then Miss Ashley, whose anthology is called Created for Greatness. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. That is who I am. That is what I do. And like I mentioned, I'm just here today just to be living proof that no matter what your past looks like, you can always write a new chapter in your life. So yeah, that's pretty much me. I'm over here looking at the comments now. Definitely good morning. I see, yes, Miss Justine, shout out to you. She said so true. Sister Naira, and we have Elevate with Vern. So hey, how y'all doing? Let me know in the comments, comment down below. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing? I'm excited to be here today. And look, y'all, I'm over here winging it. I'll try to see when Miss Carol gonna come back because that's all I got. So yeah, thank you for your comments. I see Mr. Les Brown in the comment section. All right, hello. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to butcher your name, so I'm not gonna do that. Oh, greetings from Italy. Hey, how you doing? We're gonna be back with the show in just a minute. We are actually waiting on Miss Kim Jacobs, who is handling some stuff. So y'all help me out in the comment section because I'm over here, like I don't know where to go with the conversation. So thank you, Sister Naira. She said you are amazing and have helped so many people. Oh, Miss Kim Jacobs is back. Yeah, she is coming.
You are amazing. Yes. And I can hear you say, I don't know what in the world, where to go with this conversation.
We are embracing imperfections today. I was like, yeah, I should have took some notes on what else.
You're doing a great job.
Yes, and do it afraid, and that's my lesson to you today. Because I'm like, I don't know, I'm over here with my pen, like I'm gonna have to come up with some stuff real quick. So yes.
No. Everybody that's commenting, I could hear what you were saying. I was talking to the man that's here fixing some stuff, and you know what they say, 8 to 5. That's what time they gave me as a range. You know how that works, right? So those are part of life imperfections. It's like, wait, what? And then, of course, the time that they come is right in the middle of the show. I can't say, well, I have a show. Can you leave and come back? They'll be like, ma'am, you want this fixed or not? And the answer is no, not for that price. And so, arrivederci. All right. So anyway, listen, we're talking today with Jessica T. Moore, and she's talking to us about embracing our own imperfections. One of the questions I have for you, Jessica, is what is one of the biggest imperfections you actually felt about yourself? And I'll tell you something about myself too. So I'm not just putting you out on blast. I think I've put you out on blast plenty right now. But what's an imperfection you felt along your journey that you really did have to embrace about yourself?
I would say the biggest one was my transition that I just spoke on earlier, with me finding out that I was pregnant at 18.
Right.
And if you 18, like you still a baby yourself. I just got out of school. And so that was one of the moments where like everybody had something to say. Everybody was a parenting expert. And so it was one of the moments where it was like, I had to decide like how I'm going to handle this, because I had to actually quiet the noise and find my own voice. And that was the first time I was like, you can't dictate my life for me. I had people even saying like, you better off just getting an abortion. You're not going to be able to do this. Your mom just passed away. You don't have family support. You can't take care of a baby on your own. You're going to be dependent on the government. You're going to be out here on the streets, and all those things that people tell you, all those wonderful things that people tell you when they find out you're pregnant at 18 years old. So that's kind of what, I went through. And so I really had to grow up fast in that moment. It was like, okay, am I going to listen to this chatter, or am I going to intentionally say, this is what I'm going to do in my life? And so that's what I did. So I sat down, I was like, you know what? I can still accomplish all my goals. I don't need nobody. That's what I told myself. I'm like, I don't need nobody. We got this.
But we all need somebody, actually. In
But
fact,
you
we
had to tell
do.
somebody, you had to say that in that moment. So sometimes I feel like you have to get to a point where it's like, you know what, I don't need nobody. I'm gonna make it on my own, because that helped me to not be dependent upon anybody. And then the help actually came. But I had to put myself in the mindset of, because a lot of times we get a victim mindset, and then we like, if nobody's helping me, I can't do this. So in that moment at 18, I had to say, like, I didn't need nobody. But I did get help along the way. But when I put myself in that mindset, I didn't have expectations. I didn't put expectations on anybody to do anything to help me in that moment, because I said, you know what, I put myself in this situation. And like I said earlier, not being a volunteer victim. And not saying like, oh, this person had to help me, or I need, So that's where I put myself in that mindset, and I was able to go ahead and continue going to school. Everything worked out. My daughter's 11 now. She just turned 11 years old. And so she be like, what you went through? We be talking about, I'm like, girl, if only you knew. So so actually, like, during that time, God was my biggest supporter, and he started to place people strategically in my life. I ended up getting my first apartment. I was actually in an abusive relationship at the time. And so I was able to leave that relationship. And then I was scared. I'm like, I got this baby, what I'm gonna do? And so I left the relationship, and I was able to actually get my first apartment. And then after that, I think when everything started to turn around is when I got an apartment on campus, and I found out that they were hiring for RAs. And if you know college, RAs are the people who pretty much like support everybody else. And so like at first I was the person that's like, I'm not coming out of my little apartment on campus. I'm not doing anything because I had this baby. And then I turned around and was like, you know what? I'm gonna support other people. Because at that moment I felt like in your pain, if you comfort other people, you can get through. And so I went to the director and I said, I'm interested in being an RA. And when the other RAs heard, they was like, you can't do that with a baby. Ain't nobody's ever done that before. Like with
very encouraging people, huh? Very encouraging.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. It's a process. You'll never be able to do that. I said, okay, I'm gonna show you better than I can tell you. So for 1 year, even though I was going through what I was going through as a single parent, and I was working part-time and trying to go to school, I went and I served and I helped the RAs out. Every time they did an event, I had my baby on my hip and I was going and I was serving the people. And so it got to a point where they was like, yeah, we looking for your staff member, Jessica. And they like, Jessica don't work here. And so I did that for a year. And then one day the director called my phone and was like, come to my office. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do?
What did you do?
So
what?
I went to the office and he was like, all right, here go the payroll sheet. Come get your job. And so I was able to become an RA. That gave me free rent from myself and my daughter, so I had my free apartment, all my bills was paid. And I was able to finish school. It was free food and everything, y'all. So and set the intention and focus your attention on your intention, and then you will become the best version of yourself. And you can achieve anything. I was actually the first RA, non-traditional, with a child. And then after that, that opened up the door for other RAs with their children to be able to do the same thing. So shout out.
Wow. And you tell you had nothing to say? Get out of here, Jessica T. Moore. I need to figure out what I'm going to say. Girl, you got plenty to say. That is an incredible, that's an inspiring story that you just shared. And just something that was an imperfection that turned out to be a very intentional, purposeful, life-changing experience for you and your child. So I am so excited that you shared that story. And when I was thinking of an imperfection for me, one of the things that, and this is actually just today, I went to go back to my old neighborhood, and they have a garden inside the neighborhood in honor of my son, because everybody in the community knew that he had transitioned and he was playing basketball, and it was a big deal in our community. And I was driving and looking at the old house that we were in. And I personally thought I was like, okay, I'm healed. I'm healed. I'm healed. I sat there, Jessica, and just
Mm,
cried and cried. I mean, to the point my eyes were swollen. I was like, I was crying so bad. And I was like, why am I crying like this? And you know what God put in my spirit is, Kim, listen, there is no perfect way to
mm,
deal with what you're experiencing. You may think one moment that, hey, I've embraced what I have to embrace. I know my child is safe in
mm,
heaven and I'm moving forward. But you don't really have a cookie cutter printout of how to do this thing called life when
mm,
someone that you love is transition home. So I'm imperfectly living my life as a mom of a child that no longer is on this earth, you know? And so
mm,
for me, that's huge because I was sitting here thinking, I thought I was the person that was the example to be able to show my children, show my family members, this is how we, keep it together and move forward and all of that. But
mm,
that's not the case. I have times where I need to just release and cry out to God. And it's okay. And I'm not perfect and I'll never be perfect. So the imperfection of even dealing with my grieving, even years later, it's like,
mm,
it's just like it was when I sat in front of that house and I sat there and looked at that basketball hoop, which the day that this happened, it was just installed. So to
mm.
sit there and see it, it just put a flood of emotions back into my whole realm as if it was that same day. So I just say to everybody to don't worry about trying to be like I have perfectly healed. I'm perfectly dealing
Mhm,
with this. It is what it is. There are situations and circumstances in our lives that happen that we would have never imagined could happen. So when
mm.
they do happen, that is definitely an imperfection that we now have to make some major adjustments to adjust to what's happening, if that, makes sense. So,
Yes, I firstly just want to say my condolences to you because I know it never like like no matter how much time go away. And then like even as you were speaking, just like a parent and a child, like that's the one thing I was thinking about, like even for me. It's been over 15 years, since my mom has passed away. And it's still, I like it seems, like a lot of people might think like, oh, well, you was a kid then, but even then it's always moments where I wake up. Like, man, if I had my mama in this moment, like I would be able to handle this a little better. So, like, I definitely want to say, my condolences to you because
same to
parent
you.
child, the parent child relationship is like strong. I got my children now. I have three. And it's just like, so I just wanted to say that to you.
Thank you. He was taller than me. It's 5'10". So he towered
Oh,
over me a little, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, this is like a gentle giant type of thing. Okay, but listen, when you talk about owning your own story, when we come back from this commercial break, well, first of all, let's see if we have any comments. Mackenzie, any comments came in during this segment? I want to make sure I address any of them.
Mackenzie said she left a comment. She said she got pregnant at 19.
Yes, Mackenzie definitely has been a teen mom and she's doing a great job of raising her son, and now she's married as well and she's doing great things in life. So yes. So people had she had similar story to yours. People were saying some things that were not very uplifting and edifying,
Mhm.
but she made it through. So I'm grateful for that. Naira said, "You are amazing and you have helped so many people, Jessica."
Thank you. Sister Nair is one of my favorites.
Sister Naira. Let's go, Jessica, Ashley said.
Yay, Ashley. I just shouted you out. Hey, girl.
Hey Ashley, I know that you're going to be on the Kim Jacobs show soon. I saw that that's happening and we welcome you in advance, okay? All right, so listen, when we come back, we're going to you are so inspirational. So
Thank you.
inspirational, Ashley said. All right, when we come back after this commercial break, if there's anything else that you can tell people pertaining to ways that they can embrace their imperfections, I want to hear that right after this commercial break, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
It's not just another day, it's a brand new day, full of all the fun, love, and laughter you and your family create. Silver Shield Security understands feeling at home means feeling safe and happy. No credit checks, no contracts. We offer payment arrangements. And we'll even give you a free door camera. Find out how we can brighten your day even more at silvershield-security.com. Silver Shield Security.
Hey everyone. Okay, we're talking with Jessica T. Moore, and we're talking about how to embrace our imperfections and stand and own our own stories. So, what advice would you give people tuning in today on how to embrace the things that are imperfect in their lives?
So the first thing that I would say is giving yourself permission to evolve. A lot of times we don't give ourselves permission to do that. So one thing that for me in my life is I don't ask for permission, I give notice. And so when you start to do that,
That's
that
good.
will put you on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. So
Okay, wait. So I'm big on role playing. Explain to me, because I know what you're saying, but I want to see it in motion. You give notice. You don't say, "Can I?" and ask for permission. So, give me an example of what that would look like?
so for me, like even when I talked about the situation with being pregnant with my daughter,
Okay.
it was more of a okay, this is what's happening. Like if you want to know if you're there to support me, then this is my life right now. I'm not asking you for permission. I'm not asking you what I should or shouldn't do. The same thing
Oh.
even with moving to Atlanta, because it was a big step for me and my husband at 25 years old to move to Atlanta, Georgia. And like my husband from a small town, and he had never moved before, and so I had moved. Of course, as I mentioned, I moved a lot. But then a lot of times people have something to say like, "Oh, well, you shouldn't do that," or "Atlanta is this and that," like. And so it was like, no, I'm not. I'm not asking for your permission. I'm giving you notice that this is what's about to take place. And so that's how I go about my life. I'm not waiting for anybody's permission. I'm giving you notice. And then for those that's with me, then come on. And the ones that's not, hey, it was nice while we was here.
So do you actually tell people? Do you tell people like in that way? I'm just notifying you. I'm not asking you, or do you just make a statement and say I'm moving to Atlanta, and you don't say the other part of I'm trying to notify you or stuff like
So
that?
I got a little bit of a smart mouth. Like,
Okay, so you go ahead and tell them like it is. So,
yeah.
so if I say to you, let me role play because I'm a role play person. So, Jessica, what in the world? Why are you thinking about going and moving to Atlanta? You have so much going for you here, and why would you uproot your family? You're young and move to Atlanta.
Who asked you?
Oh, you would say, okay. So you really like cut to the chase.
Yeah,
And
I
so,
said no. I'm not. This is not a discussion. Like I'm telling you, and if you support it, then okay. If you don't, like I have to, like I mentioned, like quiet the noise and find your own voice because then self doubt start to creep in. Like, so for me, I'm telling, and then everybody don't have to know. Like, I'm one of them people that is like, I'm most likely if I'm talking to you about this is because you do support me. And if
right.
you don't, I'm not really there for that. Like I know the people this support me, like the people that's in my circle. And then I know I be having people that's like, man, she don't talk to me about nothing. Nope, I show them.
Because you already know that they're not for you in that particular regard and they're not going to encourage you. But it's not that you don't talk to people that you know don't support you. You just don't talk to them about things that you need their endorsement or support
Mhm.
on. So you
Yeah.
still have, hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Glad to hear from you. Whatever, generic conversations. But you don't talk to them about things that you need their formal input
Yeah,
on.
I have people that I know I can talk to about certain things.
That's
And
good.
if that person is not in my corner, then it's like sometimes we like to just tell everybody everything, and then like if it's the case and it's somebody that don't support you on something, then that's why I say like I didn't really ask. Thank you, but who asked you? Like,
Okay.
so
Well, that's
that's how
definitely
I
one
go
way of
about
dealing
life.
with it.
And that's what worked for me. It works for me, and like I'm at a point where people know don't come telling me what you think. Don't tell me nothing against what I'm saying because I'm not asking for permission. I'm giving you notice.
So then are you open-minded to, because maybe the suggestions, and this is just a thought, I don't know. Maybe some of the suggestions that some of those people may have may be something that could benefit you, but because you're not willing to hear it, then you just dismiss it altogether and you never know what that input was going to do for your life or
Well, like I had mentioned, like I have people that I know I can go to seek out. Like,
okay.
you know what I'm saying? So I don't just that's just for the general public, like. So that's
But,
just my way of
but
doing
that's
it.
good.
Like,
That's
I
good.
know I have people that I can talk to and ask them like, what do you think about this?
Okay.
But
And
that's
so
not
those people you trust whether they agree with
yeah,
you or not, but
yeah.
then they just break it down and be like, I know you're not gonna want to hear this, Jessica, but this is the deal. And because you say you value what I have to say, then
Hmm.
it's this
That's okay.
what
But
this
just to
person is
be
saying right here, which is, I don't know where my hand is pointing, but right there, what this point person right there is saying is know your circle. And
yeah,
I do agree,
yes,
knowing your circle.
yes.
Right. And Dennis said, thank you so much for sharing. This is very insightful. Very insightful. All right. So you say that point was a great point of being able to keep your circle kind of close to you and
Hmm.
knowing that these are the people that's for you and who's against you, and then determining where you're going to share what with.
Yeah.
That's kind of in a nutshell. Any other thoughts on embracing imperfections?
The next thing when it comes to embracing imperfections, let me think. I would say focusing your attention on your intention.
Focus your intention on your intention. Okay. Focus your
Attention.
attention. Mackenzie, will you type that backstage for me? So focus your attention on your intention. I love that. What do you mean by that?
So focusing your attention on your intention. That's how I eliminate distractions.
I love that.
So I think that that's like the biggest thing, like it's what so many of my clients struggle with too. Just being like, you know what, this is my intention. This is what it is that I'm trying to do, and you focus your attention on your intention. Like I love
I love
to
it.
journal. I love to create my little vision boards, and it's just like, okay, I need to focus on what I sell, what I'm going to do, because it's days where I'm sure you know, like as a person of influence, as a person who's out making an impact, it's days where you be like, why am I doing this? Like,
Right,
what
right.
is
Of
this
course. That
for?
yeah.
You know, like, so in those moments, you have to focus on your why.
That's
Like
good.
to be able to, because sometimes we have to see it. So with me, I'm very visual. I love to like draw things out. I got my little coloring
Me
stuff.
too. I
That,
love to make it real plain so I got a good
yeah.
understanding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's definitely me. So I would say that that's the biggest thing when it comes to embracing imperfections, because it could have been times where you was like, oh well, maybe not, maybe I can't do this because of this,
Right, right.
or whatever the case is. So you definitely want to focus your attention on your intention.
I love it. And you know what? Our reinvent yourself expert, she comes on Freestyle Fridays here on the Kim Jacobs show, is Ernetta Caldwell. She also has a podcast called Reinvent It, and
Mm,
she's a Mother Dreamer member. We have a Mother Dreamer group, and she's a part of that as well. But she says that some people will talk you out of your dreams. And
mm,
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Ernetta.
yes.
So that's why you can't share everything with everybody.
Mm,
Arnetta says amen as well. And just great comments that's coming in. I love vision boarding. Yes, she actually does vision board parties, and she has a vision board box that's already kind of pre-prepared for people to have some tools to get started with their vision boarding. So if you're ever interested in getting a vision board party or event going, definitely reach out to Arnetta Caldwell. All right. Dennis says, my goal is embracing my imperfection is to empower others and to encourage others.
mm,
Very good, Dennis. All right. I love what you're saying, being intentional, basically
mhm.
focusing your attention on your intention. These are great takeaways, y'all. I hope that y'all are writing them down and applying, you're going to apply them to your lives. Now, when you say you own your own story versus just living in your story, break that down for us.
So owning your story is owning your truth. It's standing on your story
Ooh,
and not in it.
okay.
So the main thing is like when we think about the things that we've been through and we're still in it, that's our story that we're not been healed from, and that's okay. And I know like with me having, because I work with authors, and so a lot of my authors, they come and they're like, this is the story I want to tell, and then we're in a session and I'm like, you're not standing on that story, you didn't own that story yet, but you can still write it, and then we're gonna pack it away in your journal because I'm always doing a book program, so you can put that story later, and then we're gonna focus on a story that you can say, I've been through it and I overcame it, and this is how you can too.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that is what the basis of owning your story is. That's saying like, this is my story, this is my truth, and this is how you can be healed from that same thing. So that's what owning your story means.
Now, what if your truth is different than the truth that you're telling about other people? Because
Mm,
now your truth may be very different than the truth that somebody on the opposite side of the same story is
yes,
sharing.
yes.
What do you advise to people in that situation?
That's a great question because that often happens. And so one of the things that my authors had to sign off in their contracts when they write in my book is that all people must be spoke about and with dignity and respect.
Okay.
So even if like you feel that way when I'm reading the story, if I read it and you don't sound like I gotta look at, I can't, by the time I get to the end of your story, I want to look at it and then be like, I don't like that person either now.
Right, right. That, you know what? That is such a good point that you're making. And you know what? Yes, I see. Ernetta, I agree. She said, that is so good, Jessica T. Moore. I agree. That is so good because the fact is, at least I can only speak for myself. When I'm telling my story, I try to be so mindful of how it's going to impact other people,
Hmm.
even though it is my truth and it is the truth. Actually, it's not even just my truth. The truth is the truth, and the truth will set you free, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the bottom line. And we know that. But sometimes how you tell the truth
Hmm.
can impact and even be harmful to somebody else's
Hmm.
story if they haven't even shared their story. How dare you go and share their whole story and they haven't even shared their own story. I don't know. I mean,
Hmm.
I guess everybody's timing is different, right?
Yeah.
And your truth is your truth. But so if I was writing a book with you, you'd be like, Kim, okay, put that in your journal, baby, because you're not ready to get that one out right, right?
Yes, yes. And then just like a lot of times, if my authors are writing about a certain person, then it's like, okay, maybe you should let your family read that. And then
Right.
it's like, when they realize like, okay, somebody really about to read it, like this a real book, like this gonna be published all around the
This
world.
never go
Yeah,
out there.
yeah. I had an author that was like, yeah, I'm not gonna put that in there. And then I think like even for myself, for my example, like I came on here and I told you, my story and my truth. I didn't get on here like my baby daddy ain't blah blah blah, and nothing like that. Like that's still my truth. That might be, like it may be how I feel, but when I'm presenting my story and my message, like my truth is I got pregnant at a young age. I went through domestic violence and I didn't have support in certain areas of my life. That's my truth. Anything beyond that is like I don't want anybody to get to the end of this and be like, I don't like her baby daddy. I don't, and stuff like that. So like
Right.
that's a good example of how everybody should be spoken about with dignity or respect or tell
I
your
agree.
truth
I
from
agree.
your side. Because we're not here to bash people in public.
That's right. Let's see. Theogen says, if you don't tell your story somewhere, we'll stick with okay. Let's see. Theogen says, if you don't tell your story somewhere, someone will tell it wrongly. That's true.
Mm,
So stick with it. It's not about telling your story. How you tell it is the only thing that matters. Well, some things anyway, Theogen, is like whether you tell it or you don't tell it, the point is it is what it is, and it's a fact. In some regards, if you've been married and now you no longer are married, it's like you may not tell us what happened, but but you're not married no more. What happened? Something happened. Somebody better tell somebody something around here because something popped off. Anyway, the point is, I think it's so amazing what you're saying, Theogen, because you're right. If you don't say anything, it's going to be said however other people choose to say it.
Mhm.
And it's typically, at least when you get wind of what's been shared, you'd be like, that is so far from
Mhm.
the truth. And so I agree with you, Theogen. It's just told wrongly,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and I would add too, like, to his comment, not only if you another thing is if you don't tell your story, eventually somebody will. Because at the end of our life, somebody gonna tell that story. And that's what I actually talked about in my latest book of Embracing Imperfections, Volume 3, which actually launches on November 5th. And my story is actually called Live Forever. And
Live forever.
yes.
Oh, girl, I love that. Let's see. Okay, let me put this book image up, you guys, so y'all can know about Embracing Imperfections, Volume 2, Stories of Inspiration and Encouragement to Overcome Obstacles. And you say, where can people get this book?
So they can go to jessicatmore.com. I'm hearing like a little feedback. I don't know if that's it.
We don't hear it on our end, but
Okay.
if you need
Yeah,
to go
so
out, by all means, I'll stay on the full screen until you come back. If
I
it's
mean it's okay. I can still just go. It's just like feedback or whatever.
okay, but short, and then sometimes that feedback will be aggravating. So feel free to pop off and come back on.
Okay.
I'll take a commercial break.
Here,
But short,
here, let me pop off and come back on.
okay. So while she's popping off, let me let you guys know. Go ahead and pop off, Jessica. What? Just so you all know, you can get Jessica's book at shortstorysecrets.com or jessicatmore.com. And this is just an incredible young lady that's here sharing with us today how she can teach us how to embrace our imperfections. Are you back now, Jessica? Ready to go? All right. Let's see. Is that any better?
Um,
Is that better?
no, it's okay.
I don't know
It's
what
all
that.
right.
All right. But anyway, go to jessicatmore.com or shortstorysecrets.com to get your copy of Embracing Imperfections. And this is going to be a great read. And you definitely don't want to miss having your copy in hand, hot off the press. All right. Let's see other comments that came in. I love that. I love that. Tell how your story helped you, not hurt you.
Yes.
That is just that's a different spin on things, because most people, when they share their stories, they're talking about the pain, the agony, the different pieces to it. But to share how it helped you is a different way of thinking.
Yeah, shout out to her. You know, she won my VIP author, so she got it.
She understands it,
She
because
understood the assignment.
even just looking back right now, just if I apply what you all just said, how did with my son passing help me some kind of way? I don't think about that much from that perspective, but how it's helped me is I'm able to keep his heart beating, which is a heart of kindness and love and compassion for other people. And so actually I wrote about it in the book of it's this book right here called Women of War. And I'm one of the contributing authors here. And in here, I talked about the messenger of hope. And it's not about me, but it's about the seed that I was carrying. I do agree with this philosophy of sharing how something helped you in life to not just only hurt you, because there's so many things that Gabriel brought to this earth that have been helpful to so many people, and his legacy continues to live. And that's a very good point, Ashley. Yes. I say Les, Dr. Les Brown. Yes, Dr. Les Brown. We're on his platform and excited to be here as well. And owning your truth. Wow. All right. When we come back, I'd like to hear about some of the things that you hope readers will walk away with when they're reading Embracing Imperfections, your book. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, everybody, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to hear some more from Jessica T. Moore. We'll be right back.
Nothing says I love you more than final expense insurance whole life protection. With funeral advocacy nationwide, saving you and your family 30 to 80% off funerals and cremations. Nothing says I love you more than Get Insured Solutions, LLC. GetInsured.Solutions, 704-499-3616.
All right, everyone, we are back. Mackenzie, you're on the screen, so if you could remove yourself, I greatly appreciate it. Okay, but you can stay on too, because I definitely don't mind you being on. I've already told you, Mackenzie, you can come and be on and officially just read the comments. So anytime you want to come on. You make it better. So go ahead. Okay. All right. Listen, Jessica, how do you want people to walk away from reading the book Embracing Imperfections? What do you want them to have as takeaways?
I think the biggest takeaway, like as I mentioned, just like breaking your own silence,
Okay.
and owning your story. Like, so pretty much like what it says right there, stories of inspiration and encouragement to overcome obstacles. My authors talk about things from experiencing domestic violence, having drug charges, criminal charges, abortions, like a wide variety of things that
Hmm.
women may go through
That's
in their life. So like a lot of times when we think about like empowerment and different things like that, it's like, oh well, people coming in like, I got this credential, I got that, like I have all that too. Like I have a degree, I have
right.
certifications, but it's like that's not what motivates other people. That's not what's going to help other people to grow
No,
in their own life. So it's all fine and dandy, but at the same time, like what about those things that are not so perfect?
that's good.
And so that's where my authors are empowered to
I
continue to
love
tell their
that.
stories and the people who are reading it, because it's like, man, she went through this. She was a teen mom. She was a single parent. She was this or that, whatever the case is. And then they feel like, you know what? If you can do it, then I can too.
That's right.
So that's just the biggest thing, like for readers
That's good.
and for those who submit their stories, because we always taking stories. So just the biggest thing for all of us is to begin to push past those fears.
So where can people actually submit their story for you?
Yes, so if you go to shortstorysecrets.com, you can
Okay.
actually
Okay.
apply to be in one of my books. And so
Oh my gosh. Okay.
yes.
So
So
go to shortstorysecrets.com, and these books are extremely professional looking. Let's just show you some of the anthologies that she spearheaded, right? These are projects you've overseen, right?
yeah, so a lot of my authors, after they write their chapter, they're like, you know what? I want to do this thing for myself. I want to use my book to grow my brand. And so this is one of my authors, Gilda, who wrote a chapter in my book. And Gilda actually wrote in volume 2. And at first she was like, I can't do this. I'm not ready to tell my story. So she didn't do volume 1. And I was like, okay. And like a lot of times people still follow me, and then it's like, okay, I'm ready now. Because
Right.
sometimes you may not be ready. And so when Miss Gilda came in, she told her story and then she wrote her own book. And then this is Sister Naira, who did the same thing. She came in, she hit the ground running, and then she launched her book, Repair the Black Family Anthology. And then Miss Ashley Created for Greatness. This is her book, and she did it along with Les Brown, and she is now out here rocking as a superstar with her speaking career.
But I definitely want to go back to this book, Embracing Imperfections, and make sure that you get a copy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be coming out when?
So this one is already out. We're actually on volume 3 right now.
Okay, so
Um,
this is volume 2. You can get this now.
yes,
Volume 3 is coming out in November. That's the
yes.
one that's not listed on the photos here,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a pre-order that you can also get. And
Yes.
so make sure you go to sharestorysecrets.com, and then also you can visit
Mm-hmm.
jessicatmoore.com as well, and share your own story if you're interested in being in any of her anthologies, and also get a copy of volume 1 and 2 of Embracing Imperfections, pre-order copy volume 3, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Excellent. So when you're talking to us today, you're talking about some things that are imperfections, owning your own story and all of that. But what are some things that you're quite proud of that you have done that you feel like it may not be perfect, but it's right up there. It's up there. I done good in this.
Yes. So I would definitely just say that's how I feel about my whole life. So I'm like, I'm now an author, a coach. I speak a little bit. I'm a podcast host. I'm a wife. I'm a mom, and like just all the things. So like, and a social worker, of course. So like, yeah, that's what I would say.
That is so beautiful. And that's, you know what, that's how I feel as well. I feel like in life, I'm like, wow, what a blessing this life has been. Even the
Mhm,
things that I would have never wanted to happen in my life still help shape and develop me into who I am today. And
mhm,
so I don't I would say, I would go back and say, hey, I would love to change a couple of things here or there. But at the end of the day, I believe that God allows whatever he allows for whatever reason he allows. And it's
mhm.
been to shape and to develop me into the person that I've become, you know?
Yes, definitely.
And so I don't know if I would be the same person without some of those experiences. So who knows? But they've been quite humbling and some have been quite exhilarating. I've lived a great life and I'm grateful for the life that God has given me. So yeah, I think it's been interesting because I was saying to one of my friends recently, Jessica, I said, well, I said, God must have really shielded me because I didn't even know anything. I was happy. I was like thinking life is wonderful anyway. So I was like, I have a great life. I'm grateful for the life that I have. So
Mhm.
sometimes I think God even puts a shield or
Yeah,
some kind of barrier. So you really are blinded in some regards because you don't even know what you don't
mhm.
know. You don't know
Yeah.
what you don't know, you know?
Yes, yes,
So it's like
definitely.
la 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 la. I'm like having a great life.
And
So
I
thank
think
you, God.
the biggest thing is just understanding, like, we all out here just winging it. Like, nobody has all the answers. So,
No.
yeah, and then I think it's daily, like, every day, if you wake up and be like, "You know what? Imma make today one of my best days," and just keep doing that every single day. That's all
Every
you really
day.
need. Yes.
That's all we have is that moment in time right then to make the difference and be what we believe God created us to be,
Yeah.
impact the people in life that we are assigned to, and
Mhm.
just live each day on purpose and with passion and compassion. And I'm just excited about life. So yeah, I'm grateful that we've crossed paths, Jessica, and I think that your teachings are incredible.
Thank you.
Is there anything that you didn't say that I'm sure there are plenty of things you didn't say, but things that you would love to make sure the audience walks away with today?
I would just say own your story, tell your story, put yourself out there, don't be afraid, surround yourself with a group of people who believe in the best of you and not the stress in you. And just that's the main thing. If you grab a copy of volume 1 over here, I talk about my story of it's called, what was that story called? Delayed but not denied. So delayed but not denied. I
Yeah.
talk about going through college and the struggles that I went through with trying to get my master's degree. And then in volume 2 over here, my story is called More Than Love. It's kind of playing
Good.
on my last name and talk about my marriage with my husband. And then in volume 3, the book that's coming out in November is called Live Forever. And that's pretty much how to leave a legacy. Because as I mentioned earlier, if you don't tell your story, at the end of the day, somebody will. So you might as well tell it yourself while you're still here. And in that story, I just pretty much talk about, like, I actually experienced my mother passing and then 8 other family members passed after my mother, all in about a 10-year time frame. And so like I actually moved with my grandmother when my mom passed, and my grandmother got cancer and she passed away. And then my great grandmother actually passed away, who was helping my mom take care of me because my
Mm.
mom was a teen mom. And then I lost a few other people.
Oh my
And
God.
so my story lived forever. It's really like near and dear to me because I feel like I kind of put my all into volume 3, and it's just talking about like why I'm even doing this, like why is it important to own your story. And so I talk a lot about like going to each one of my family members funeral, and I didn't want to get to the funeral and then found out how amazing they were, like. And so I'm sitting there and I'm reading the obituary like, man, why didn't I know
Why
this?
didn't I know this stuff about this person?
Yeah, and so that's the biggest thing, and that's why it's so important. Like, like we be throwing around on your story, and we have a good time, but it's so critical that you tell your story because that's how you live forever. Like my mom wrote, and so I have her stories that I plan to actually publish on Mother's Day for her, that she wrote. And so like I just believe that it's critical for us to overcome them fears of, and like if you have a book and you know you have a book in you, and it may not be a whole book, because sometimes people be like, I ain't writing no compilation book, I'm gonna do the whole thing by myself. But you don't even know, like you may not even be ready. And so that's the biggest thing, like is
That's
for
good.
me is like pushing past that fear and telling your own story. Don't wait to the end
I
and then you
love
got
it.
somebody else telling it. One of my little publishing friends, she say all the time, like, there's no publishing company in heaven. And I'm like, girl, what? When she said it. And she was like, no, it's so many untold stories.
Right.
And so that's just the biggest thing I want people to take away today is like, don't sit on your gifts. Like use those gifts to serve other people. Embrace your imperfections on your journey to become the best version of yourself.
I love it. I love everything that you're saying. And people that are interested in writing, whether it's a chapter or a full book, what advice would you give them as far as just getting started? Because sometimes it's once you get started, then you can go ahead and I would have never thought that I was going to be a contributing author to 3 best-selling books, and I am
Mhm,
now, and one that I've personally written the full book, and now writing 2 as I
mhm.
currently speak. But I would have never thought that, I just wouldn't have thought that. But it's
Yeah.
like once you get started, then you can get going and get done. What advice would you
Mhm.
give?
The first thing is to push past that fear. So
Okay.
like a lot of us fear, a lot of my authors be like, they've been trying to write this story for 10 years, 15 years, and it never came out. So the biggest thing is like pushing past that fear and that procrastination. And then turning it into like this is something that has to be done. Like it's non-negotiable. Like I have to get my story out there because it's somebody that needs it. And then I would say, like, of course, go fill out the application like at shortstoryseekers.com and submit your story in there. I just would recommend because I know some of my authors actually were authors before
Mhm.
they've submitted a chapter, and it's a lot of things that they don't didn't necessarily know. And so they were saying like they were grateful to be a part of a compilation because
Right.
it's more to it than just writing a story. You gotta know how to market that thing. You gotta have confidence, and different things like that. So I would definitely say like get connected. If it's not my community, it's a lot of other communities. I have authors who have their own platform and they
That's
doing
right.
things like get connected with somebody who can push you and then crawl before you walk. If you're not ready, you might not be ready to write a whole book, but you can submit 2,000 words. It take me 2 hours to put together, my stories. And I haven't been an author for a full year and it's changed my life. And
Wow.
now I'm a 5-time international best-selling author, but it hasn't been 1 year yet.
Wow,
So
that is unbelievable. You would think you've been writing since you were 2
no,
with all of
this
these
wasn't even
projects that you're working on and
yeah, this wasn't even my life 1 year ago. I was just a social worker out here working with children in foster care.
wow. So
Yeah,
how
and then
quickly things can change, right?
yeah, and I woke up one day and was like, you know what? I got to do this thing. And it was crazy because it was actually while I was doing an interview with Les Brown. And when I did the interview with him, I was so excited. And afterwards, people was like, well, what do you have to offer? We want to get it. And I didn't have anything. I had nothing to offer. And it was 2,497 people watched that interview. And they reached out and I was like, I gotta do something with my stuff. I gotta get me an online business going. And then I just was like, hey, I reached out to some people on my podcast, like, y'all want to write a book? I don't know what I'm doing, but we gonna do it.
So
And that's
that's even more inspiring, Jessica, because when
yeah.
you're speaking from experience that you have personally gone through, and people can see that what if she can do it, then I can do it, or if I
Yeah.
can do it, then you can do it. It's like that is so inspiring. So I'm so grateful that you took a moment to share that during
Mhm.
today's discussion. Listen, everybody, make sure that if you want your life to be slightly different in the next year, we got to do some things slightly different than what we're doing this year, right? And so Jessica T. Moore is a great example of that. And she came on and shared her story with us of how she is now a 5-time best-selling author. And you can go and share your story if you're interested in being in her anthology, any of them, shortstorysecrets.com and Jessica T. Moore. So we've been bringing balance to the world today with this wonderful guest. And do you have a closing comment?
No, stand on your story, not in it. That's my comment.
All right, everyone. So, and hey, speaking of which, Make sure if you are interested in being a talk show host yourself or you want to start your own podcast, make sure that you reach out to me at kimjacobsconsulting.com, kimjacobsconsulting.com. I do one-on-one training with you, and I'll help you create your own show and own your own content in the process. All right. All right. So that's today's show, everybody. And I am so grateful that you've been my guest, Jessica.
Thank you. It's so nice. Thanks for having me. I
All
appreciate
right.
you.
And everybody now on, this is a whole separate note because, I told you I have to save it to the end. If you have not registered for the Gabe's Heart Foundation 5K walk, that's in honor of my son, Gabriel Jacobs. What we do is a full week of random acts of kindness called Doing It Gabe's Way with the proceeds. So we go out and do gas, groceries, uniforms, all kinds of stuff, ices, whatever, anything we can do to just bless the community, medical expenses. We try to cover some of those expenses. Whatever we get enough money to do, we do it for a full week. And so on September 24th at 8:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are inviting you to be a part of our 7th annual 5K walk. And that is taking place. And this is again in honor of my son, Gabriel, but it's about raising awareness for heart awareness as well as anti-bullying, given that he was the anti-bullying mediator at his school. So go to gabesheartfoundation.org to learn more. And we hope to see you at this year's 5K walk on September 24th. Also, grab a piece of chocolate. I meant to tell everybody too, today is National Chocolate Day. So make sure I hope chocolate chips are in there because I'm definitely going to have me a chocolate chip cookie with extra Ghirardelli chocolate chips in there, warm baked. So yes, enjoy National Chocolate Day. All right. All right, everybody. That's our episode today. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
You've been amazing. And thank you for stepping in while I turned the serviceman away for his expensive bill, which I could not take care of today. I was like, no, I don't need that. Go on now, go on. All right, everybody. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and we will see you again soon. Mackenzie, thank you, and we can go ahead and close out. Have a great one, everybody. Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.